Welcome to the Nightly Needle. Today I'm going to be answering a question that I've seen asked often in some of the crochet and knitting and handmade groups that I belong to. I've been asked this question in person as well at some of the markets I've attended. It's a really good question to ask, and it's a really good question to have an answer to, especially if you're just now starting out selling some of your items, whatever they may be, if you crochet, knit, or any type of craft in general. Now I'm going to walk you through the formula that I personally use, and a disclaimer here, I'm not a professional advisor or anything like that. This is just something that I have used and worked with and have found that it works the best for me in selling my crochet items both online and in local marketplaces. I do encourage you to seek out different research and different formulas that people use. That way you can come to an educated conclusion for yourself and what's going to work best for your business. Now I would take this time to get a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, something to write with or to take notes with, because you may want to write this down. You can also save this video to your watch later playlist so you can revisit it as often as you need it. Let's get started. So now we're going to talk about the math. So the basic formula is materials plus wages times profit margin. Now I'm going to be using a real life example, a crochet hat that I've recently made, to help you better understand the formula and each part. Now we need to figure out our material cost. In using the hat example, we need to figure out how many yards was used and how much that cost. Now to do that, we need to know two things. We need to know the weight of the item, and we need the original information from the label. This hat weighs 3.6 ounces. And here I have a label with original information on it. And it reads 5 ounces, 252 yards for $4.99. So now that we know the cost, we know how many yards is in it and how much it weighs. All this information can be used to determine how many yards exactly are in here. So, the first part. This we need to figure out how many yards per ounce in the original skein. So we will need to take the 252 yards and divide that by 5 ounces. This should give you 50.4 yards per ounce. Then we're going to take this number and multiply it by the weight of our finished item. So this is going to be 50.4 yards times 3.6 ounces. This should give you 181.44 yards. This is the total yardage it took to make the hat. Now we need to figure out how much it cost. So now we're going to take the original price of a skein, which is $4.99, and we're going to divide that by the number we just got, the 181.44 yards. This is going to give you 0.0275. Now because we're using decimal points, you need to go over 2 to the right. So this is going to give us $2.75. This is the cost of materials it took to make this hat. Now we're ready for part 2. Now we need to talk about wage. Now wage is a sliding scale. It depends on location, skill level, and just your overall preference for a minimum wage. Since I live in Tennessee, we're going to be using Tennessee's minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. And the skill level of this hat. So I view hat making to be a lower level skill. It's going to be probably one of the first things that you learn to make, either knitting or crocheting. You can certainly make more complicated designs in the hat, and that will vary the minimum wage. So now that we have our minimum wage of $7.25, we need to figure out the time portion. So it takes me roughly an hour and a half to make one of these hats. Now we need to make sure that's in decimal format. So an hour and a half is going to be equal to 1.50. We're going to take 1.50 and multiply it by our wage of $7.25. This is going to give you 10.875, and if you're using a calculator, it'll probably give you additional numbers behind that. We're just going to round to the nearest decimal place, which is going to give us $10.88. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the total cost of materials and we're going to add them to the wage total cost. This is going to give us the full amount of how much it took to make the hat. So we're going to take our $2.75 and we're going to add it to the $10.88. And this is going to give you $13.63. Now, if you were selling your item at this price, you're going to be breaking even. You're not really going to be losing money, but you're also not going to be making any money. This is where the profit margin percentage comes in. Profit margin is going to be a set percentage that you're going to multiply the total production cost and then add that amount that you get onto the price. So this profit margin is going to help you be able to add back into your business, maybe buy more expensive equipment, or it'll be good to have some extra money to spend in your, home life, to help buy groceries or what have you. Now, the profit margin percentage definitely depends on your preference and kind of where the market is, where you're at, or if you're doing online, what have you. Me personally, I like to sit between 25 and 40%. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be going in the middle and we're going to use 30%. So to figure out how much our profit margin is going to be that we need to add back into the production cost, we need to take our total production cost of $13.63 and multiply it by 30%. This is going to give you 4.089, and of course I'm going to round, so that's going to be $4.09. So to get our finished retail cost of our item, we're going to take $4.09 and add that to the $13.63 production cost. This is going to give us a total of $17.72. This is the minimum I need to sell this hat for to get the profit margin and to pay me back for the material cost and the time it took to make. And if you kind of want a double check, fail safe kind of thing, what I usually do too is I will look at market prices in my area or on Etsy or online or in general, and kind of see how much the specific hat or a hat like it is going to be. So generally the $17.72 is pretty on par with the market. Most hats are anywhere from $15 to $25. So that's a pretty healthy in the middle kind of thing. So this is just a basic example of how to figure out a general pricing for your items. Now there's more things that you would want to incorporate, especially if you're doing markets and online business, such as your overhead costs for credit cards, shipping fees, booth fees, that kind of thing. You definitely want to incorporate that, and it'll be a lot less than you think because you'll divide it amongst a big chunk of items. So usually if I'm doing something online, I'll add on $5 to $6, and that will be for the shipping fees and the credit card fees and basic overhead fees. Now you certainly can do that. I usually add it in before I do the profit margin percentage, and then add, whatever that 30% is on top. Now you can do it however which way you please. You could also just get your basic price and then do calculated shipping, what have you. That's totally up to you. And if you guys want me to go in more detail about that kind of thing and do an overall with, a side-by-side of an online versus a local market, I can totally do that for you. Just leave a comment below and let me know if that's something you guys want. I hope this video was helpful and that you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you did. It really helps the channel grow. And I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to watch this video. I'm happy that I've been blessed with, crochet, and that I am able to share what I've learned along the way of this business journey with you guys. And I hope that you're all successful in whatever you do. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.